I bet she comes out and she's got her slippers on and an old gown. Bonjour. Bonjour, madame. Je m'appelle James.
Bonjour, James.
Bonjour.
Bonjour, madame. Je m'appelle Oz.
Bien, nous sommes déjà rencontrés, non?
Oui, bien sûr.
Oui,
bien
voilà.
sûr.
Bonjour. Bonjour tout le monde.
Madame's premier red is the lush, scented Chateau Pichon Longueville Comtesse de Lalande. But these smart chateaux do have second wines, not so flash, but far cheaper. Madame's is called Reserve de la Comtesse. At over 20 quid it's still expensive, but it's nothing compared to these historic vintages down here. Altogether, this stuff's worth millions.
Well, I'm sure it's very good then. I'll have one. This'll do.
So this is, for example, I've pulled out of there, this is a 1940.
Yes.
You could have been picking this grape
Of
at
course.
the moment when Robert
Yeah.
Stamford Tuck was downing a Heinkel 111 over the channel in his Hawker Hurricane, which is a nice thought.
Yeah.
It should almost be drunk to celebrate it.
That was the Paris Commune, wasn't
Yeah.
it? When
the
they were all
Commune.
sitting eating
and the end,
rats.
and the end of Napoleon III. So that is 1870 of Mouton Rothschild. Here you
I now have absolutely no idea what those two are on about. They're whiffling, but no suggestion whatsoever that we're going to drink any of it. We're looking at old wine. Look at the old wine. God in heaven.
This is a 1937. In 2007, there will be people 70 years old with lots of money for whom they would pay £1,000 for that.
Oh yeah.
£1,000.
£1,000 for that bottle.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Would that be any good?
It might be fantastic.
But you don't know.
The point is, funnily enough, whether this bottle is good or not won't affect its value very much to sell it. People will buy the bottle just because of the label.
They won't drink it.
They
will
might
buy
not drink it. They might never drink it.
This is going back to what I say about talking about
They could
wine.
keep it and bring all their friends to see it.
To look at it.
Each time they come for dinner, they bring their friend in.
I can't.
To look.
The
Just
idea
to
that
look.
you ring up your mates and say, do you want to come round and look at a bottle of wine? That's preposterous.
Well, and here's a glass of Chilean Merlot while you look at it.
Yeah, if I did that, I'd get my face punched.
Delicious, this. It's got a beautiful, warm kind of smell, James, which I'm sure you would appreciate.
Funny, but since, as Oz is well aware, I'll have to drive after lunch, I'm on water.
James and I are involved in a challenge here to teach James about the way you describe wines, the way you describe flavors and smells. Now, how do you approach that?
Working on a creation of a new vintage is exactly like leading a string quartet. And the alto could be the Cabernet Franc, and the second violin could be the Merlot. I think we create something like a work of art. A wine is like a person. It asks you to discover the personality. How is he? What is his story? Is he deep, strong, elegant? Then comes the nose. So that even if you don't drink wine, you can already have the pleasure of the eyes and of the nose. And that is a great part of discovering a wine.
Great vintage. Today's, I think. Now, what exactly was the point of that visit?
But James, surely, you must be able to get something out of the history of all this.
The history is fascinating.
Well, then
But it's not-
be positive about it. We're going to get to all
get
the
to
nuts
drink.
and bolts of it. That is a problem, and I'm sorry about that. The whole problem is that, you know, if you've got to drive the car, you can't drink. So that's just a given. We'll sort it out as we go along, and we'll all take our turn and everything.
Well, I think that's enough learning for today. Time to get our heads down.
There's a little stream at the bottom here. There's something on the bridge here. There's a stream at the bottom.
We're headed to the place where I spent my very first night in Bordeaux.
So take that little track along there. That was it. I remember. We were right next to a bank of vines.
The year was 1971. The grapes were ripe, and so was my travelling companion, a wonderful girl called Sarah.
This is it, James. This is where me and Sarah pitched our tent.
Should we put it on the exact spot?
No,
Why?
because I don't want to be in the exact spot where you and Sarah Montague Wellington did it. I can't believe she actually wanted to have sex with a man who was this incompetent at putting a tent up. How could she possibly have found him appealing? Oz, that's the bag it came in you're looking at there. How did you actually get into this wine tasting and writing lark in the first place?
Wine I got into because I wanted to meet girls. I went up to university with no money. I discovered there was this wine tasting society for £2 a term. It was a university society. You could get 4 wine tastings and you could take a guest. So I just thought, 4 wine tastings a term, £2, that's 50p a go. And I just thought, that's 50p a date. And then they started this English wine tasting team. So I went down and auditioned and got into the team.
You tasted wine for England?
I tasted wine for England, yeah.
Oh no. There's water coming through. It's bad. Ow. I found a pound.
It'd be mine.
Yeah, probably. This was the worst idea you've ever had.
You know, overnight I've learnt that James is quite a sensitive soul, with a peculiar penchant for poetry, especially Omar Khayyam.
Dreaming when dawn's left hand was in the sky, I heard a voice within the tavern cry, "Come, my little ones, and fill the cup, before life's liquor in its cup be dry." Now off.
He doesn't think he snores, he snores. He does, I can tell you. I heard him at least 100 times last night.
I'm getting freshly watered meadow with an acidic finish.
Ah, yes, wine smells. Remember, James has got a test coming up.
Smell that. You don't trust me, do you?
It smells like a stinging nettle.
Have you ever actually gone and smelt one before? Bash it. Ow!
No, I haven't, to be honest.
God, it goes straight through your...
Oh, but that smell, that is one of the great, great smells.
Yep. Hang on. A badly tuned diesel.
Now, we just had a rough night, so I've decided to give us both a little treat. South of the city is Chateau Smith Haute Lafitte. Their dry white has wonderful flavours of nectarines, peaches and coffee beans. It's pricey, though there are similar whites in the area for under a tenner, such as Chateau Tour-Léognan. But here, set amid the vines, is something even more sensuous than a glass of wine. A spa that uses grapes for soothing treatments.
She's actually cut a grape in half and is wiping it on my face.
They reckon that the grape and the grape skins and the grape pips are some of the healthiest things for mankind that there are.
So, forgive me for dragging this back to reality, Oz, but how does this help with my education? So far what I'm learning is to be able to go back to England and say, Oz Clarke is a nutcase. He made me lie on a bed while someone rubbed grapes in my face. That's not very good advice to someone who wants to know what to have with their roast beef on a Sunday.
This is about the texture of wine. Now, this is a slightly extreme way of saying, feel the texture of that lovely sort of gelatinous flesh being rubbed all over your face. Just feel it, enjoy it.
I mean, it's not an unpleasant sensation, I'll grant you that, but I'm just slightly flabbergasted at the extremes to which you will go to immerse me in the culture of the grape without actually letting me have a bloody drink.